under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For the balance of the evening, I will be having my back to you as I face the candidates. I think it's just better that I speak to them rather than you. Hopefully you can all hear them and me. I will be repeating the questions to each candidate, and I've asked them if they didn't understand, would like for me to repeat the question, for me to repeat it again. They have not been privy to these questions as I understand it. So it will be up to them to answer the questions to the best of their abilities. Thank you again. Be sure your cell phones are on silent or off, and we'll get started. Yes.
Don't forget to get the administration certificate.
Well, we will start tonight's. Let me get. Yeah. Now I feel like I'm on a horse. We will start tonight's event off with introductions, and I will start to my left to Tina Brown. If you would, please tell a little bit about yourself, and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I appreciate the Houston Women's Civic Club for sponsoring this event so that we can hear from all the candidates in a single forum, and I thank everybody in attendance as well. I've owned 1 acre in Houston for over 30 years, and my husband at the time and I built the house that we live in with our hands, subcontracting and putting in windows and doors ourselves. I'm very invested in Houston. Always been a voter, but in the last 4 years started attending council meetings and have been at nearly every single council meeting, very involved. I read all the information packets. I've emailed city administration. I actively participate in most every meeting. So I feel like I've learned a lot through that process. As far as experience in managing things, as a widow, I finished raising my 3 sons in running that household. I was a teacher for 15 years and had to manage a lot of middle schoolers in math and life science classes. And as a registered nurse for the last 8 years, I had to manage patient care every day. I'm a thoughtful, organized person. I'm open to new ideas, diverse perspectives. I think I have a lot of fresh ideas that I'd like to see implemented. If there's something I'm missing about my background that you're interested in, I'd be happy to see you after the meeting, or you can reach out to me anytime.
Okay. Thank you, Tina. Next, Scott Corder.
Again, thank you all for coming. Women's Civics Group, thank you for putting this on. My wife Lori and I moved down here in 1994 from New Jersey. We moved to Georgia, into Gwinnett. We've been there ever since until we came up here in 2021. We found this beautiful place actually in 2020, and then we were able to move into Crestwinds in 2021. Since I've been up here, I've been coming to these meetings. I have extensive business background, first starting my career in 1981 on Wall Street in New York City. When we moved down here, I moved down here for a business. We started our own business in the sports and medical arena in Gwinnett County, really involved inside the community. We were privileged enough to work with over 40,000 plus young people from ages of as young as 7 on up to professional athletes. The whole business started with a medical practice being in there, and that is a lot of our background from the medical side, as well as owning our own business that my wife and I ran with a group of people. And it's just a real honor here to be here tonight, to be here. When we moved into Crestwinds, this is where we decided to make our home, Houston, and really wanted to get involved very much with the community. Started really inside our own thing when we started with senior taxes, which has kind of led me to being much more involved here in Houston. Just again, I want to thank everybody. If you want to speak to me afterwards, hopefully we can answer all the questions. Good luck to all of you. God bless you and your families and everybody else that's here. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Next is
Hey,
JJ
everybody.
Jackson.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'd like to start by thanking all of you that organized this event tonight, and thank all of y'all who are in attendance. Like y'all have heard, my name's JJ Jackson. I have lived in Houston for more than 5 years. My parents live in Houston, John and Jill. They're here tonight. I also have an aunt and uncle and a few cousins that live in Houston as well. So it gives me great pride to sit up here. We very much love our community. I graduated with a degree in finance and have since worked in the technology and software world, helping a variety of different businesses solve complex issues. So whether it's hospitals, small business, schools, government. I serve right now as head of partner strategy and sales for a group named Solve Health. We're doing our best to try and fix the broken health system in our country. So working with hospitals, urgent cares, primary care groups. I'm sure many of you or your family members have experienced many parts of our system that are broken today. So I enjoy very much working on complex issues, collaborating with different people, whether it be patients, whether it be CEOs of major hospitals, doctors on the front lines, providers. While I haven't served in a public capacity before, I was chairman of a political organization and have been very much involved in Georgia politics, working with judges, state senators, and so I learned a lot during that time as far as how government works, and I'd love to put to use my expertise and background in that particular area. When I have a little bit of free time, I enjoy golfing, water skiing, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up now. I see a lot of familiar faces, but for those of you I haven't met, I look forward to staying after tonight and speaking further with you. And again, thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Ms. Moss.
My name is Melba Moss, and welcome to everyone. I'm so grateful to be here. We moved to Houston in 2019. Donald worked for General Motors for 32 years. And when we moved here, you can't hear me?
Yes.
When we moved here, is that better for you? I know that feeling. When we moved here, we moved to 2019. When we moved here, we wanted to find a home that as we got older and as things started to happen to our bodies, we would be able to get around in the house with everything all on one floor. We have 5 children and 15 grandchildren. And in my career, I have been a supervisor, a manager, and a director. I've had the opportunity to be with Primerica Life Insurance since 1992. Came on board as a director and ended up being an agent for Primerica. I help the elderly and the retirees and people that their policies are renewing, and everyone needs life insurance. And as we get older, the premium becomes quite expensive for everyone. So I work with families throughout 27 different states. I'm on the phone with them, trying to assist them with their coverage and their premium. But it's been a pleasure. I hope to be able to talk to some of you this evening, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Sale.
Good evening. So also welcome to everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm Shannon Sale. I actually have my wife here with me tonight, Kim. She's sitting up here keeping our mayor straight. Thank you for getting here tonight. So I'm a lifelong resident of Houston. Grew up here. My family dates back here a couple of hundred years. A lot of history here, a lot of connections to our community and to this city. I am a former council member from probably 30 years ago to recent mayor just a couple of years ago. I filled in on a unexpired term for about 20 months in 2020 and 21. Went to Jackson County High School, started up here on the 1 in 53 when it was the high school, but graduated in Jefferson, went from there to North Georgia College, finished up in Dahlonega with a business degree. I've pretty much been self-employed my entire life, from the developing to the building industry to the real estate industry. I'm a licensed Georgia real estate broker. I run the little gun shop right here in town. I tell people I'm semi-retired, but I work more now than it seems like I ever did. I still live here on the family farm over here across from the school on East Jefferson Street. If you're ever up and down that road, that's me right across with the long driveway and the John Deere mailbox. Houston has changed, without a doubt. I say welcome to you. I like the influx of the new people, the new blood, and the new ideas. Houston's been able to change a lot because of you. I mean, my goodness, we've got a Publix out here, and looks like we got a Kroger coming, and it's because of the influx of people. I'm a hard worker. You're sitting in a room right now because of the work that I did. I drew the plans for this place. So I'll work hard for Houston and make it a place that we can all be more and more proud to be. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm a talker.
And Mr. Beck, if you would just hold that thought for just a second, I'm going to come over here to the other two council candidates. So, Mr. Brown, I'm going to go to you if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, and then Ms. Sweat, and then we'll go to the mayoral candidates.
Not at all. Good evening, and thank you for your time. Like you said, my name is David Brown, and I'm honored to be running to represent you as your city councilman for the 2-year term, not the 4-year term. I chose to run for city councilman to bring strong leadership for Houston's future. I went to Purdue University with my lovely wife, Jamie, who's sitting right over here. We've been married for 47 years, or she put up with me for 47 years. We own our own business. It's called Hasfree. We sell to corporate 500 corporations. We've done this for over 20 years. We've seen the ups and downs of the corporation and know how to manage in hard times and know how to take the good times and turn them into profits for the corporation. I have 2 children, and I've been blessed with 4 grandchildren. And I'm basically here to unite this city and come up with a common goal of managed future growth. I ask you for your vote and your support to become your next city council member. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Sweat.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. I'm honored to be here also. I am also a lifelong member here. My family's been here 53 years. My father ran a business here, which I managed for the last 30. I'm also a retired nurse. My reason for running is try to bring unity into our city and figure out a way for smart growth and try to get rid of the negativity around here. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. Those are our candidates for the council seats. And now we'll turn to the mayoral candidates, and Mr. Beck, I'll lead with you, please.
All right, my name's Michael Beck. I've been in Houston since around 1999. I'm originally from up north. I've been down in Georgia for 45 years. I grew up in Lawrenceville before I came to Houston around 99. We took a brief break and moved to Buford for a little while, thinking we were going to get closer to everything, work-wise, but the traffic and all the congestion down there, we came fleeing back to Houston. We've been back here for about 3 or 4 years now. We live right over here in Creekside, near the soccer fields. I have a strange career background. I started off law enforcement, and pretty much that's all I knew. And then I got a pretty debilitating spine injury. It took months to learn how to walk again. It took years of physical therapy and stuff. And during that time, I decided, I need to look for something. I'm not going to just go on disability. I want to work. I'm too young to not do anything. So I learned how to become a real estate appraiser and got my license and spent the 2-year internship while I was recovering, doing a lot of that stuff. From there on out, I've been appraising houses now for probably a good 10 to 15 years. During the very beginning of COVID, the real estate market obviously died down a little bit when all COVID was hitting. So I decided to just go on a whim and teach myself how to program computers and learned C# and some other computer languages and started up my own little IT company. That has actually exploded. I've got 18 employees that work for me there. It's turned into a pretty lucrative business and pretty much replaced home appraisals as my full-time job, at least until the market picks back up. I've got a lot of experience managing things. I've got a lot of willpower when it comes to coercion and stuff like that from the law enforcement career. And honestly, whenever I see something broken, I just like to get up and try to fix it myself. And that's why I'm putting my hat in the ring. I want to get out here and see what I can do to help the town. And I plan to stay here as long as I can. So that's why I'm running.
Thank you. Ms. Martin?
Hello, everyone, and as everybody else has said, thank you for putting this on and for this amazing attendance. Obviously, it's a very important election this time around, so I'm glad that you all are here to understand and learn a little bit about us. My name is Debbie Martin, in case you didn't know. I'm running for mayor. I am a very proud single mother of one who lives in Jefferson. He recently got married last year, and it's now a blended family, so I have 6 grandchildren. I know, he's a busy guy. I moved to Houston in 2020. I purchased a home in 2020, and I also, like some other folks here, like Mr. Beck here, moved from Beaufort. So I wasn't far away coming here. I think Houston is in so much change that we also need change on our mayor and council area. And so that's why I'm running for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Mr. Sutton?
Hello, my name is Dr. Nicholas Lee Sutton. I am lived here in Houston for 3 years now. I'm originally from Franklin, North Carolina, up by Cherokee, North Carolina. A very historic town that's been able to work with very similar lands that we have. I have some ideas of where we're at on that. Yet first I want to talk about my doctoral degree is in organizational leadership, how to run large businesses, how to run government. My specific research is in how the human brain and mind works, and we've been able to help over 300 people improve their brains and their minds by 15 to 65% using non-medical formats of literally teaching the brain how to work. And then from that, what we've realized from a leadership standpoint is that the quantitative math we get by being able to collect a lot of information at once, very similar to how a Google search works or a database search works. When we have the more information and the more input, we have the greater results we can bring forth from that. And from a leadership model, when I look at an area, whether it be Houston or the United States of America, and I look at the growth or the needs and the emergencies, the wars, the illnesses, and I have plans and solutions that can help on all sides of those. Now, what gets in the way, to me, of big changes occurring to help everyone to make more money, have greater health, is the idea that we live in a divided system. We are having a debate that's going to eliminate the intelligence by half or more, depending on how many people are running from each position. And when you have an area that is forming for growth, to me, the more ideas and the more of these people's help and the more of your ideas we can get, the better of a job I can do, so that when people are working together, we're not arguing over the same pile of money. We're actually trying to create money together. I have a lot of those ways to fix pretty much anything. So I'm running for mayor of Houston and hopefully president of the United States 2024. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sutton. We'll now begin our questions. First, asking of the city councils, and what we will do is we will ask you 5 the same question. We'll skip over the mayor, then we'll ask you 2 the same questions. Then we'll go to the first mayoral question. So, Ms. Brown, the first question is for you. Serving on city council requires a time commitment, being present at meetings, attending to citizens' concerns, reading up on issues, and familiarizing yourself with policies adopted at county and state levels. How will being a member of Houston City Council fit with your other commitments and of critical importance to townspeople? Do you have a personal or professional relationship that could become a conflict of interest as you transact the business of the city?
I'll address the first part of that question first. The second part of the question first.
Sure.
I do not have any personal relationships or professional relationships that would in any way impact my performance on the city council. And I believe that entirely answers that. The first part of the question, I have demonstrated, I think, in the last 4 years that I am able to attend nearly every meeting. The meetings used to be consolidated into one, and then they were split until Thursday and Monday, and I have made the time to attend both of those almost without exception. In addition to that, I requested from the city manager that the information packets be posted online so that we would have full access as citizens to the information for each zoning request, each annexation, each ordinance, whatever. That has been posted online, enabling me to read that. I have, as anyone who's attended council meetings can attest to, I've read those packets thoroughly each and every time and had comment and written emails and been super involved. I've done that for 4 years. It will be no problem to continue doing that.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Corder, I'll repeat the question. Serving on city council requires a time commitment, being present at meetings, attending to citizens' concerns, reading up on issues, and familiarizing yourself with policies adopted at county and state levels. How will being a member of Houston City Council fit with your other commitments and of critical importance to townspeople? Do you have personal or professional relationships that could become a conflict of interest as you transact the business of the city?
Sir, I'm going to start with the second part of it also. I live in Crestlands. I have no personal or professional interest inside the city that would affect us. We moved here to be in our retired home. As far as commitment, I work part-time now helping young people like I've been doing for the past 25 years. I do that on my own. I actually work with a friend of mine teaching tennis to people down in Decula, and right now it's with young people, like I said. My commitment to the city actually started to the commitment to Jackson County, where we started with senior taxes. I was involved with 4 other people over there to be able to start to help Jackson County working with the Board of Education. I've also have had the privilege to be invited and work with the staff here, the city staff. When the Kinley property was coming on board, we had private meetings that we were invited to. Like Tina said, I've been spending time reading all these documents. We've actually, as a group, have spent time even looking at demographics to how we can help the city grow, working with outside companies. So I look forward to that challenge. That's what it's going to be. There's obstacles and challenges in everything we're doing. These are going to be fun. I'm excited about helping the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Corder. Mr. Jackson, same question for you. Serving on city council requires a time commitment, being present at meetings, attending to citizens' concerns, reading up on issues, and familiarizing yourself with policies adopted at county and state levels. How will being a member of Houston City Council fit with your other commitments and of critical importance to townspeople? Do you have a personal or professional relationship that could become a conflict of interest as you transact the business of the city?
Thank you. I do not have any personal or professional conflicts of interest that would in any way impact or sway my duties of sitting on city council. And as far as the time commitment is concerned, I mentioned that I see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd tonight. I hope that I've given everyone a small taste of just how committed I am. It's been a pleasure speaking with all of you, hearing y'all's opinions, y'all's perspectives on a variety of different things. I've tried to spend as much time in as many different neighborhoods around the community as possible, and that will continue. I don't have anything that will prevent me from performing my duties or come in the way of those, and I'm ready to get to work. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Ms. Moss, same question to you. Serving on city council requires a time commitment, being present at meetings, attending to citizens' concerns, reading up on issues, and familiarizing yourself with policies adopted at state and county levels. How will being a member of Houston City Council fit with your other commitments and of critical importance to townspeople? Do you have a personal or professional relationship that could become a conflict of interest as you transact the business of the city?
I do not have any personal conflict with the city or professional. A lot of people sitting out in the audience have probably never seen me before. I'm really fairly new to Houston. But as far as for my commitment through my life being a supervisor, manager, director, I've made a huge commitment to treat people the way that I want to be treated, to do my best, to be honest, to consider others, to learn as much as I can. All of this is brand new to me. A lot of you have been here for years. A lot of you know the ropes. I don't. But I am willing to learn. I am willing to step up, be here at every meeting, learn as much as I can, and from my heart, do what's right at all times.
Thank you. Mr. Sell, the same question to you. Serving on city council requires a time commitment. Being present at meetings, attending to citizens' concerns, reading up on issues, and familiarizing yourself with policies adopted at county and state levels. How will being a member of Houston City Council fit with your other commitments? And of critical importance to townspeople, do you have personal or professional relationships that could become a conflict of interest as you transact the business of the city?
So I'm going to start when I was mayor just a couple of years ago. It was a full-time job. I mean, I spent 25, 30 hours a week in City Hall right down here. If you don't believe me, you can ask any of the staff members. They'll tell you. There's a lot of work to be done. It's tough to be a full-time, 40-hour-a-week employee and come serve on this city council. Ask our last mayor, Lauren O'Leary. She truly didn't have the time for it. It's a commitment. There's a lot to be done here. These packets that come out, sometimes they're 200 to 500 pages. There's a lot of stuff in them. You need to understand it. You don't need to just read it, you need to understand it. And understanding it takes asking a lot of people a lot of questions if you're going to make an informed decision sitting at this table. I've committed to that. My office is right across the street. I can walk to my house in 5 minutes. I'm going to be here. I've got no professional or personal conflicts. I know a lot of people at the local, state level, county, to help our city and have the experience to do it. And look forward to getting that accomplished.
Thank you. We'll come over here to Mr. Brown. The same question to you. Serving on city council requires a time commitment. Being present at meetings, attending to citizens' concerns, reading up on issues, and familiarizing yourself with policies adopted at county and state levels. How will being a member of Houston City Council fit with your other commitments? And of critical importance to townspeople, do you have personal or professional relationships that could become a conflict of interest as you transact the business of the city?
Like the others, I have no conflict of interest that should impact the city whatsoever. I live in Crestwyn, and the only properties that I own are over there, so there are no conflicts of interest whatsoever. In terms of the ability to do what the city needs, I look forward to that. I too think it's going to be a full-time job. There's a lot of things that need to be done and redone. My current company that I do own is in great standing. After 20 years of building the company from a garage to working with corporate 500 companies, it actually runs like a clock now. I, in fact, get teased by my grandkids that Papa's got the only job around that he only spends 15 minutes a week on, and that's about truth. I have a huge desire and drive to think a little bit outside the box and look at projects that will benefit the city, benefit the developers, and benefit the landowners. Because I think a lot of what we're doing right now is just looking at one side or the other. So I know my time's up, so thank you, but I do have the time to do it.
Thank you very much. And if Ms. Sweat, you will, it was very good. Ms. Sweat, same question. Serving on city council requires a time commitment. Being present at meetings, attending to citizens' concerns, reading up on issues, and familiarizing yourself with policies adopted at county and state levels. How will being a member of Houston City Council fit with your other commitments? And of critical importance to townspeople, do you have personal or professional relationships that could become a conflict of interest as you transact the business of the city?
Okay, I'll also answer the second one first. No, I do not have any conflict within this city. I've lived in the city limits of Houston for the last 50 years. So, as I also said earlier, I'm a retired nurse, so I don't have any problem with allotting enough time to do what I need to do for this city. the concern that is in this city for all the growth and how it's mismanaged, and I want to dig in and see what we can do to change those things.
Thank you. We'll now go to the mayoral candidates, and your first question, Mr. Beck, you will lead us off. The dynamics of the city have changed significantly over the last several years, and the city has experienced a fair amount of contention around various issues. Acknowledging that it's unrealistic to expect that everyone will agree on how every issue is handled or managed, what do you propose to help unify the community behind an overall vision for the future?
So there's actually a couple answers to that question. The first one would honestly just be open communication and transparency. I mean, for example, if I was the mayor and I have to vote on an issue and the people of Houston don't want that issue, I need to have a very good reason of why I would vote against what the people want. And other than what goes on in an executive session that can't be disclosed to others, I would be absolutely transparent, and I think that's a key to keeping everybody involved, is letting them know that their voice matters and what they think matters. And if I'm going to go as a representative of the people against what matters to them, I need to be able to articulate why and have a really good reason for doing so. I also think that you need to do the same thing even when you go with what the people say. Hey, I voted yes in agreement with you all, and this is why, and this is what I think it'll do. So I think transparency and communication is the number one thing that needs to happen there. We need to manage our growth too. You know, living up the 85 corridor is kind of like being on a river, and Jackson County is the Whitewater Rapids at this point. You know, are we going to sit around and flail our arms in the water, or are we going to, you know, get on the raft, which requires a council and a mayor? You know, the mayor can sit in the back and steer the raft, and the council can help row, and we need to actually manage where we're going with that river instead of trying to fight it and just flail our arms around. Ultimately, though, I really think it just needs to be everybody come together as one. We have a lot of smart people in this town. Maybe form some resident committees, start getting their ideas and putting their brains together, and let's start using some of those resources we have, which are the people of the city.
Thank you. Ms. Martin, same question to you. The dynamics of the city have changed significantly over the last several years, and the city has experienced a fair amount of contention around various issues. Acknowledging that it's unrealistic to expect that everyone will agree on how every issue is handled or managed, what do you propose to help unify the community behind an overall vision for the future?
Thank you for the question. I sure wish I would have gotten it first so that I don't repeat what Michael said. Communication and openness and transparency with the citizens is the utmost important. If you attend the meetings, we would like to know. I sat out there for the last 2 months, and it's a different feeling sitting out there than it is sitting up here. And I got to wonder, even yesterday's meeting, why was the decision made? And that is not explained to the citizens as we're sitting out here. We need to understand why mayor and council is doing what they're doing. And we also need input. We get a lot of input from the community, but it's not being heard. And I need to understand why it's not being heard. So I think that is the biggest part that will help us unite this community. Also, I think that, my time is running out also. Oh, okay, thank you. I also want to bring back the monthly mayor Q&A, that it's open, there's no rules around it, you can ask anything you want, and the mayor and the council that wants to attend could come, and let the citizens be heard. Thank you.
Don't repeat it for each one of them, it's taking way too much time.
All right.
I can heed to that if you need me to.
Dr. Sutton, I will repeat it if you like. Otherwise, please go forward.
I can rock and roll. Let's roll. All right. So to me, what divides and causes tension is when one side isn't able to work with the other and everybody's not getting a reward. Same thing in the brain. And if you have division and if you don't have a way that everybody wins, then you are going to have continuous issues such as, do you have a conflict of interest? To me, if we have businesses that help everyone win in a town, and I have several to bring forward, research centers of the brain, research centers of natural medicines, or the historic opportunity between the Creek, the early settlers, to create a tribe-type economy to where when you work together, everybody gets commissions. So instead of not being able to pay your bills at the end of the month, when we look at an economy that can work together, then you might be getting checks for several $1,000s in the mail simply by allowing us to bring opportunities to your town. As former Mayor Sells was saying, he works so hard, and the price that people are getting paid to do this isn't there. Yet if you don't have something that's creating money in your community, it's hard to ask for raises for the hard work that he and others will move forward in. Now, with that being said, these opportunities after COVID and Corona to bring in brain research that can bring in the funding that we need, whether it be from donations or from the federal government, and anything instead of a conflict of interest I would be bringing is all I focus on is improving the performance and profits of the entire community, and hopefully everybody will be getting checks in the mail from the work I bring forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sutton. We'll go back to the City Council, and I'm going to start with Mr. Jackson for this question here, and they've asked me not to repeat it, so please pay attention. What are the top 3 issues impacting the city now and in the next few years, and how do you propose to address them?
Yes, sir. I love this question, by the way. There's 3 that are really top of mind for me. So there's been a lot of focus and conversations recently on building homes, building townhouses, different developments. And while residential development is great, we really need to focus on bringing businesses to Houston in order to not impact the citizens with taxes as much as we possibly can. I'd like to not have it affect them at all moving forward. We need to bring in small businesses like retail, restaurant, women's boutiques, different things like that that are tax generating. They create jobs. And one of the things I want to be really clear on is I'd like for those to add to our curb appeal. I don't want for them to come to our town like they have others and change the landscape, change the visual to where they look like an eyesore. I want for them to come and integrate into our town. And that actually provides a really attractive opportunity for them. The other is we need to focus on our demographics. We have a lot of people that are retired or they'll soon be retiring, and then on the other hand, we have a lot of young families, single people, people that are getting ready to create a family. We need to think about having somewhere affordable child care. I think we have an 18-month wait list on the nearest daycare here in town. I'd like to have golf cart paths and access for these young families to go out and enjoy these restaurants. And then to tie all this together, we need to have a big picture vision. And so what that will allow is mayor and city council to say, how does this project contribute to the overall vision that we have? If and how, if it doesn't, we need to...
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry for going over.
Ms. Moss.
The top 3 issues I feel that are impacting the city from what I've learned so far is the new developments that are going on, as well as our roads, water, and sewage. I was looking out there today, and it showed that in 2023, the population is about 5,792, which it has grown. But what I'd like to do is get more involved in the developments that are going on in Houston, talk about Route 53 out there, because I had a lot of people saying that if we bring in different types of development, it's really going to impact the roads, and it's going to be a lot worse than what it is today. And also water and sewage, with us bringing in so many new homes and any apartments that may be coming in, we want to make sure that we have enough water and the sewage to be able to take care of the families. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Moss.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sell.
So, growth, everybody wants the answer for that. We all want the restaurants, we want the retail. We need them. It takes rooftops to get them here. You got to have it. Nationwide, I mean, that's a fact. You got to have the rooftops. Guess what? We're finally getting the rooftops. I believe we all know that even Kroger's knocking on the door now. We know there will be probably a gas station with it, multiple retail restaurants. Costa Rica, open up. I mean, it's coming. You gotta remember, I grew up here we had one little store and gas station here in Houston. Most of y'all got here just in the last few years. The transformation we've had recently is just tremendous. It's coming, and they will. It'll bring jobs. It'll bring SPLOST, sales tax money, back to the city. It's good for us, and hopefully we've got it kind of in the works. I mean, you're gonna be able to drive your golf cart to most of them. Water and sewer, always important. I'm gonna tell you, Houston is in great shape in water and sewer. The plans have been in place. We're working on it. You're not gonna run out of water. Recreation's another one. I led the impact fee program 2 years ago. We're getting money off of every home that's built in this city to spend. A rezoning we did over here off of West Jefferson Street is going to bring us nearly 100 acres of additional recreational land. Last thing, this building was designed to be a 3 to 5 year program, building restaurants here in the future. We're going to have to get ready to get started on a future permanent city hall and police station. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sell. I'll move on over to Mr. Brown.
Thank you. Move it this time. The top three issues now and in the future to me is leadership, sewer, and unmanaged growth. And like Mr. Sells just said, we need rooftops, but we need the infrastructure to support it. I totally disagree that we have plenty of water and sewer. The last project that we just approved, called the Kierley project, puts us over the capacity of our sewer system, and our phase 2 won't be available until 2029. I would propose that we look at a moratorium on high-density housing and shift our focus heavily to commercial, where we could generate some capital for the city, bring some money in, and quit putting the burden back on us, the citizens. Right now, if any of these projects fall off, or if inflation hits, or if the interest rate keeps going up, we're going to bear the cost of all those projects. There's something like a $30 million loan that may take place to pay for the upcoming sewer, and if that doesn't if we don't have the infrastructure here to support it, we're going to end up paying for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Sweat.
You know, I've heard all of these comments, and I agree that growth is here. We just have to manage it a little better. I know that the council and the mayor have done a lot, especially Shannon Sale. He done a lot when he was mayor, and we appreciated it. But I also know that all these developments do take a lot of infrastructure. I'm not sure about the water and sewer because I haven't dug into it, but I know that they have been working on it for several years, and I feel confident that our city is ready for this growth. And I just think we all need to come together and make the growing pains a little bit easier on all of us.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. We'll come over to Ms. Brown.
I'm trying to sort of talk to the audience at the same time. So the top three things would be the unmanaged growth, water and sewer, and traffic. For managing growth, I would consider, and some of these have been mentioned, I would consider a moratorium on new residential approvals. I'd like to reinstate planning and zoning boards so that we have some more oversight and more input. I would like to encourage lower density residential. I'd like to adhere to the comprehensive plan and future land use plan. I'd like to preserve as much as we can for commercial development and less residential, because commercial development, according to a report from the University of Georgia, brings in $1.54 for every dollar in services required. Residences bring in 97 cents for every dollar required. Rooftops cost money. We have the rooftops. We've got over 4,000 units already approved that haven't been built. There's another 1,000 on the agenda for the next month. We've got the rooftops. We need to start aggressively preserving the commercial to rebalance our budget. Traffic, I would love to investigate bypass options. Water and sewer, we are not fine. We are trying to find outside sources to purchase additional water. The upgrades have not been fully planned. I don't even know if we have all the bids on that. Not ready until 2029. Don't know how it's going to be funded fully. So we do need to seriously consider water, sewer, traffic, and managing our growth.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Carter?
Yes, I've got three. First one is consistency with city leadership. It's kind of a shame since I've been here for the few years that I've been here, watching all these people work hard and many of them leaving before their term. We need to kind of build more unity in the city. As many people up here said, watching people walk away before their term doesn't build any consistency within the leadership. So we need to kind of unite the citizens and the council in order to help this city grow. Second one, zoning and planning. We're all talking about it. I've been involved with it a little bit behind the scenes. I'm looking forward to being involved in the front of the scenes. Balancing all the current and future development while attracting the right partners. Like Mr. So said, we attract Publix. It was one of the big things, and even when I spoke to Chad Ringley and we started the tax thing again, I hate to keep on going back to that, one of the big things was to get retail boxes here. Like Ms. Brown said, the numbers are good. The last one is infrastructure, the balance. We want to keep the money here. We were working with a demographic company that many of the people here know, and wanting to keep the money here inside this city so this city can grow. Thank you very much. Looking forward to earning your votes.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. That concludes round two for the council candidates. We'll go on to the mayoral candidates. And Ms. Martin, I will start with you. Population growth puts a burden on resources. You may speak about infrastructure in general, but there is a particular concern about water resources or the lack thereof. The demand for water has greatly increased with recent growth, and it will only become more critical with new growth. What are your plans to provide water short-term and long-term for Houston's residents?
Yes, that is a big issue. One of the things that we're doing right now is we're purchasing water from two other sources. I would like us to be self-sufficient, but that means we need to drill more to see if we can find more water. Also, there has been for some time now some talks with Barrow County regarding purchasing water from them. We need to pursue that agreement. Also, regarding water treatment, I think is a big issue. We have lift stations that are supposed to be built that are not built yet. We need to make sure that the developments that are approved to do these are doing what they promised they would do and what they've agreed to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Sutton.
Thank you for the question. I believe that the population increase is one of the most important things that we're looking at. Also, as I mentioned about the corporations as they come in, I think getting the impact fees on the front end of that is good. That helps your city grow or helps support it financially in a certain way for a short period of time. But then the same problem that the people of the United States are running into, and whether finding resources, water or otherwise, or being able to afford to purchase them, is the fact that there's not an ongoing commission going from corporations tied to the community, to the city, and to the people. So when it comes to how can we afford to buy more if we are going to do that, then again, you have to look at what are the problems that the United States is experiencing. It may sound exciting bringing a corporation in. You may make money early, and that population, you may make those impact fees. But the difference of building 2,000 homes or putting up some casino towers with 500 to 700 rooms is a difference of $500 to $700 per night per room versus a one-time impact fee that will pay off and its time will run out, and then you're just bringing more people into your town. So I agree, you gotta look for more water, but not only that, if there's a way to use the water we have to create energy, in smart ways of creating energy, there's also some technologies that are out there that can help bring water in that are needed, yet those may not have been disclosed to the public at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sutton. Mr. Beck.
So, like everybody pretty much already said, the homes take a lot more water and sewer than businesses do. I do agree that we have plenty of homes coming. and we have plenty of new homes here, more on the way. I think we need to definitely attract some businesses to help cover some of the costs to expanding our sewer and water treatment, all that kind of good stuff. With just a little bit of glancing at the proposed budget, I do know that there are some big ticket items for the water treatment on that budget. I can't tell you exactly what that is. Not privy to that information yet, but I do know something's in the works. Again, I'm not sure what it is, but it's definitely being looked at, but it needs to be expanded further and it needs to be paid for. You know, to get the money to pay for that kind of thing, you got to get commercial in here. We got to get good commercial in here, and to get that in, we need residents that the commercial is going to want to sell to. You know, Longhorns isn't going to build a Longhorns here if there's 5 people that are going to eat there in a week. We have that on the way. Crestwind is a great example, huge community, great people, lots of time to go to Longhorns or wherever else they want to be as a demographic, and I think that community actually is kind of the cornerstone of where we need to be, is letting those kind of communities develop here, bringing the big businesses that are going to get the money, and that's how we can pay for the infrastructure, because you got to pay for it. It doesn't just, you know, fall out of the sky. So I think the commercial is definitely the answer to that, but attracting the right kind of commercial would be the answer.
Thank you, Mr. Beck. We're back to the city council questions, and Mr. Sell, I'll start with you. If the city received a surprise grant of money for which application had not been made, so that there is no earmark for those funds, say $1 million or more, how would you propose spending it?
$1 million.
$1 million.
Boy, that didn't go very far. That didn't go very far. What would I do with $1 million? If it had to go to a project or employees, we need some more help here. What would I invest it in? We got great cash flow when it comes to water, sewer. We got good cash flow for recreation. I would probably put it towards the rehab of the Stansel building and get that project started. I think that's great. We bought that for restaurants and retail. It's 13,000 square feet. It's a great building to do that. It's got a lot of history here. It even was a stable back in the early 1900s. Kind of see some areas in there. It's really historic. Would make great restaurants and retail. $1 million won't finish it, but I see that as a place to anchor downtown. We all want restaurants, and we want local shopping. Again, it provides jobs, it provides sales tax revenue. For $1 million, that's probably where I would go with it. On just a quick thought.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
Well, for a change, I agree with you, Mr. Sell. $1 million isn't very much. But I guess if we had a grant for $1 million, the first thing I would look at would be the safety of our city and our citizens. I think I would sit down with Brad and talk to him a little bit about how we can improve our police force and do some things there. The second thing, and you're not getting all the money, by the way, the second thing I would do is I would work with the city on creating a vision and start getting surveys out to find out what the city really wants, how can we create that, and then create this vision so we can all drive that direction. Probably halfway through that vision study and the police thing, I'd be out of my $1 million. So that's how I would use it.
Thank you. Ms. Sweat.
Oh, me. Like Shannon says, $1 million is not much. So, I think at this point, we need to put it toward infrastructure. Work on our roads, get a couple traffic lights, try to reroute traffic some way on some side roads.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. Ms. Brown.
There's some great ideas, and I wish the money would go farther. I think what I would spend it on is green space. I would either fully develop the Mulberry Park project, and there was another Oak Street, I think, or perhaps even acquire additional land. I'm very concerned by the housing boom that we have, and I feel like we don't have enough outdoor green space for these people to enjoy. We're packing people in rather densely. when it's all built out at this point. And I would really like to see a space that they could gather, fully developed. I'd like to flesh that out. Because the $1 million wouldn't go very far as far as wastewater treatment upgrades. That's going to be $30 million plus. I don't know where it would be any more effective than giving the people some nice, developed, landscaped green space.
Thank you. Mr. Corder?
$1 million. As everybody started to say, I mean, one of the biggest things is how do we start to connect some of the neighborhoods? How do we unify the city? That's one of the big parts right now, is to get everybody together. Green space, great. Civic center, maybe like just a community area outside where we can all meet. We need to connect this neighborhood. We need to connect this city to make it feel like a community. That's the big things that we're looking at. Safety for sure. I mean, again, can't give Brad a real lot of that money. I mean, you could spend $1 million pretty quickly. Thanks, James. We have properties that we own. We need to take a look at all those properties and see where the city staff, people that are inside the citizens, we need to get the citizens involved. If we got $1 million grant that there was nothing to attach to. So, all of you get a chance to spend $1 million with us that Tommy's going to bring us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Corder. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir. I think with $1 million, I think what I'd like to do first is just sit down and see where it could go, where we could stretch it the furthest, and where it could make the biggest impact. And so a couple of people mentioned things that I'd written down when you first asked your question. I think safety is paramount, as all of these, different houses and developments are being built out. And, a couple of people have mentioned, that a gas station could be coming to town. There are certain aspects that are a part of growth that can sometimes create the wrong problems if they're not managed correctly. And so I'd give a, really serious consideration to allocating some of that money towards police. And then on the other hand, I really think I spoke about, our demographics, young families, others that are looking for things to enjoy around the community. And so looking at putting that money into green space or a park, somewhere where everybody can come together, I think that helps accomplish the goal of unity, which you've heard a couple of people discuss tonight. And then, Mr. Sell over here mentioned employees. I think that as we explore different things like a golf cart path and others, there's different communities around the state that have done some things that we're looking to accomplish very well. And so bringing in consultants, people that have already accomplished initiatives that we're looking to achieve, is another area where I'd like to have some money free up.
Thank you. Ms. Moss?
How would I propose using $1 million? Well, first of all, I would take I out of it. And I would get as many people involved in helping to make a decision as to how we can use $1 million for the community. I think we need to take a look at community places for our children to go after school, or places where they could go play basketball, or places where they could go play soccer, or places where if they don't have anyone to watch them when they get out of school, that would also be something of interest I'd like to see. I'd like to definitely see the roads being improved so that it's not as much traffic as what we see on the roads during the busy times of the evening, and just doing really what's best for the community. But I would not want to make the decision on my own. I would want to get as many people involved that also would have an interest in something they would like to do to spend $1 million.
Thank you, Ms. Moss. We go back to the mayoral candidates. Your third question, and Dr. Sutton, we'll start with you. This is the same question as one posed to prospective council members. How will you serve as mayor or fit with other demands on your time? Do you have personal or professional relationships that could become a conflict of interest as you transact the business of the city?
Thank you for the question. First, one of the things that holds up progress is the idea that elected officials may be caught in something that they call corruption. We see every elected president, they're saying, well, this person was trying to make money this way. Well, this person was trying to make money this way. And then if you look at the laws or the charters or whatever it is that may be at place, it actually is set up so that the council members and the elected people don't have an opportunity to make extra money by bringing money to their community and to their people. And that actually is what causes the conflict of interest to begin with, is the way those rules and laws are set. For instance, if your elected officials of this area could get a commission that if we brought businesses in that helped everybody get paid money, then we would get paid for that. An example of taking that to the United States government, if you allow your elected officials and tie them to commissions to the region that they represent, then their affliction to wanting to go to something that may sound corrupt or a conflict of interest would actually be a benefit of a community rather than a conflict of interest when it makes everyone money. So the major problem in politics right now that is ending up in conflicts of interest is the fact that they do not offer a fair salary with commission that's based on bringing money to all of the people in your town. All of my plans include that. You must make the craving for human beings to make more money legal, and then make it flow to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sutton. Mr. Beck?
So the second half of that question is definitely not. Up until this race, I pretty much haven't met anybody that has anything to do with the council or the mayor or anything like that. Obviously, in the last couple of weeks, I've met pretty much half the town, but up until that point, I was pretty much a stranger to everybody as far as the government goes. The first half of that, I'm self-employed. I'd like to say I've got all the time in the world, but I don't. I'm a workaholic. If I don't have something to do at my job, I find something else to do. My wife, who's in the audience here, can attest to the fact that I can't sit on a couch, watch TV. I have to be working constantly. My employees at my company, call me in the middle of the night sometimes to fix things, and there's no problem with that. 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm on it. Same thing here. As far as the time spent with the job of being mayor, you probably get sick of me. I'm the guy that if I would work in the gazebo out there if I could, just so people have the opportunity to come talk to me, ask me questions that they want to. And as part, I keep talking about wanting to be transparent, wanting to be able to communicate with the people so much, and to do that, you need to make yourself available at all times and on all days. There is really no off time. That's how I run my business. It runs nice and smooth now that I have a bunch of employees working for me, which leaves me more time to be able to do what I'd like to do. In the past, I've been dedicating that time to my HOA and other projects like that. I just have to keep doing things, and I'd like to be doing things for the city now. So,
thank you. Ms. Martin?
Thank you. No, I have no conflicts, professional conflicts at all. Regarding working as a city employee, public servant is what I would like to actually call it. The people who have said this before is absolutely right. This is not a part-time job. When I took city council, I did not realize, to be honest with all of you, that it was going to take so much of my time. Not only coming here, reading through the packet, but you want to talk to your developers, you want to talk to your staff, you want to talk to the community. My phone rings at night constantly, still, even though I've stepped down from city council, with questions from the community. So, anyway, so the question was, did I have any conflicts? No. Do I have the time dedicated? You bet, and believe me, it takes a lot of dedication. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. We turn to the council for your last question. Ms. Sweat, I'll start with you. To the extent that you see divisions in the city, older residents with interests that differ from newer residents' interests, for example, or in-town concerns vying for attention against concerns of new developments, how do you foresee city council and yourself as a council member addressing those divisions?
And there's a lot of them. I think first and foremost, we have to be more transparent. I think we need more community involvement where we have just some people to come in and give us what they think. give us some more input from the different neighborhoods, and then we can make more informed decisions. But we've got to come together as a city to make this work.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. Ms. Brown?
Oh. So, divisions, old versus new, I'm sort of in between. I've been a part of Houston in some way, shape, or form for 30 years, and Crestwind came in across from me, and initially I was up in arms because my beautiful woods were going to be mowed down. But then as I met people with Crestwind and spoke to them and talked to them, they came here to retire. And what they want for the city of Houston, it happens to be what's best for the city of Houston. You mentioned not just old versus new, but in town versus whatever, out in the country, I guess, if there is some. I think the key to that is communication, open communication. So you get people from all sides, new, old, all the things, involved in committees to solve the problems of the city. I think that we can encourage people to sign up for the city email. I think we can use the section of our water bill that we have sort of free form to inform citizens of what's going on. I think there's, of course, justifying our votes, yea or nay. There's a lot of communication that needs to happen. It's very hard to make somebody a villain when you get to know them personally. So I'd like to be that conduit to help people come together and get to know each other.
Thank you. Mr. Corder?
I'm going to answer it slightly different because I've actually written what I consider a vision plan. And it's an open-door, citizen-driven plan. We need a community-wide strategy with residents-driven vision for the future. We will develop a plan between the city, citizens, and city partners. That way we can have unity. And we're weaving the many ideas together and the viewpoints together to create that plan. Okay, we're going to need all of you. If you vote for me, I'm expecting also for us to be able to call you. You need to be part of this city. I'm going to spend the next 4 years doing this. Hopefully maybe 4 years after that, if I do a great job, to have that consistency. This is your city. We need to galvanize the city. And the only way we can galvanize the city is by taking everybody's opinion, right? We need places where all the generations can come, all the cultures can come. This is a great place to live. It's a beautiful city. Let's keep it that way, and let's work together to keep it growing the right way, okay? Please, I need your help. This isn't just a 7-person job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Corder. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir. I think you'll see something similar that I sent to Mr. Ben Monroe that'll be published tomorrow in the paper, similar to what Scott just mentioned. Having a plan and an overall vision for the city of Houston is crucial. I don't like to think of Houston as being two-sided, old and new. Everybody can come together and make this an incredible community for everybody to live. Similar to when many of you watch the news, you might think the world is ending. If you get on Facebook in Houston, it can be easy to become consumed by the 5 people making negative comments on a daily basis. But if you go outside and speak with your neighbor and speak with everyone else, you'll soon find that Houston is actually much more unified than we think, and everybody is there to be there for their neighbor. And so fostering that more positive side, bringing everybody together to come together on a vision is going to create unity. And when everybody's voice is heard, it makes decisions much more digestible. So again, it's making a decision when everybody's voice has been heard, their perspective, and then explaining why you voted in one way makes every decision much more digestible for everybody and brings us all together.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Moss?
I think we should definitely focus on more communication, open communication with each other. I think we need to be honest. I think we need to educate ourselves. I think we need to get more involved. I think we need to have a better understanding of what's going on, the vision, what the vision would be. A lot of us want things to go our way, but everyone is not going to have their way. So we have to come together as a family. We have to love one another. We have to appreciate each other, respect each other, not talk about each other, be kind to each other, and do what the Lord would have us to do, and that is to do what's right for everyone. That would be my vision.
Thank you. Mr. Sale?
So I want to say, you've got to want it. You, the public, got to want it. You don't understand the people that sit up here at the mayor and council meetings, and y'all see them for 2 hours a month, the work session and the voting session. You've got no clue to what goes on behind the scenes. If you want to be involved and want to know, you got to come and ask them. You got to come and ask them. You're not going to learn just a few minutes in a text and reading something on the internet. You got to come and you got to get involved. You got to be educated on what's going on in our town, especially the newcomers. You haven't really been here long enough to really even assimilate how the town works. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, yes, I want to communicate. We want your input. The city council wants your input. I started the town green town hall meetings. We used to call this the town green. There's only grass here on the square. We set up out here on the stage. The public came. You could ask us questions. The entire mayor and council was usually there. It was great, but we had a quorum, so it challenged us to some on the legal side of it. A little over a year ago, I came up with the idea. I said, let's have the question and answer with the mayor and maybe a council member, where it was non-quorum. You could come in here, sit down like this, 10, 20, 50, 100 of us. Finally, we got a bigger room. You could ask them one-on-one and get some answers. If you want to know, reach out and ask your elected officials. Get details on what your questions are. If it's a topic, get off of Facebook. There's nothing but lies on Facebook. It's a waste of time. Guy posted this morning, made a statement, said, I'm not going to vote for anybody that's an incumbent. Y'all raised our taxes. The city rolled back taxes and there's not an incumbent running.
Mr. Sale? Thank you very much. Mr. Brown, you'll wrap us up on our question portion.
Well, thank you. Unfortunately, I disagree with Ms. Sweat. I don't think that we have a lot of differences in our community. As I first came here, I heard, oh, that's Crestwind. And now that I'm running, I've gone around to various homes, be it they're brand new or old. And as I went down the checkbox, we had the same goals. We like the community. We love the character. We love the people. It's a charming place. But what I also learned very quickly was people were scared. And they were scared of growth because they didn't know where it was going to take us or take them. And I think that the group up here has hit it pretty well tonight by saying that has to be open communication so people don't get afraid of new growth and what's coming. And they have to be part of that growth. And that's the reason I really believe what I said earlier about doing a vision and having a master plan for the city where the entire city comes together, be it surveys and everything else, so we're all going the same direction, will help eliminate some of this feelings in the city.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Mayoral candidates, your last question, and we'll start with Mr. Beck. There are always limited resources, but some of the growth we have seen in Houston surely comes from people's faith in the expansiveness of possibility. What opportunities does Houston have, will it have under your leadership, to make it a town where businesses would want to invest their money, a community where people would want to invest their lives?
Well, to get the businesses to want to invest their money here, you got to have people in the first place, and you have to have people that are happy and enjoy where they live, and just have that nice community feel to it. No business is going to want to go to some place that's full of industrial and just a bunch of separate housing things thrown up here and there that nobody has any kind of interconnectivity to each other. To bring those businesses in, as I just said, you have to have the people. The people need to, I think, kind of what we've all set up here tonight is we need to just get the governing bodies here having more communication and more transparency so that the people are more comfortable with how things are being run. As an appraiser, I can tell you right now that happy residents actually make property values go up. I know that's hard for some people to believe, but it really does help. And I feel the same way about the town in general, is if the people are happy and they actually enjoy attending these council meetings and all the different work sessions, and they feel like they're actually being represented correctly and being represented by what they truly want and are being, communicated with correctly, that makes the people happier, which would make the community flourish more, which would attract better businesses and nicer businesses and the ones we all desire. Ultimately, if we all just talk to each other and work together, including committees with the residents and letting the residents put their minds together on what they want the future of the city to look like, that'll make everything around happier and more pleasant. Again, residents being happy, more residents move in, more businesses want to come now because they have the demographic. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Beck. Ms. Martin?
I am sorry to do this to you, but could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Certainly.
I'm sorry.
There are always limited resources, but some of the growth we have seen in Houston surely comes from people's faith in the expansiveness of possibility. What opportunities does Houston have, will it have under your leadership, to make it a town where businesses would want to invest their money, a community where people would want to invest their lives?
Okay, thank you for repeating that. So I wrote down a couple of notes here. I'm hoping that all of you recently took the survey that was issued out by Jackson County. That is very telling about what the citizens of Houston want. And let me just give you some examples of what that was. And this will make businesses come here. We've heard retail. They all want retail. We know that. Diversity of restaurants. We all know that. We've heard tonight green space. We need centers for children. We need somewhere for our children to go, and not just 3, 4, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds. I would like a place that teenagers want to go and be safe in this town. Public safety is another big one. You put all of that together, you make a happy community. People want to come here, and it's a safe community. And then people want to invest in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Dr. Sutton?
Thank you for the question. I love this question. All right, so as a mind and brain expert, the number one thing that causes sadness amongst people is poverty. All right, that's something that is totally ignored. The number one thing of people going into disease, even beyond that, is also poverty, other than if a government does drop more viruses onto its people. In order to do that, we will need a research center to help make money to help us stay healthy as well. So the setup of what keeps the resources limited is that we do not have equality between the corporations of America with a $23 trillion surplus, the governments with the United States government a $33 trillion deficit, and 95% of our people are 1 month away from being homeless or not having enough money to pay their bills. So what do we learn from the surplus of the corporations is that when you get to share some of the profits of the business and the money that's made, you can be more like the corporations and have money in your bank accounts. What they are doing is giving their investors commissions off of that. So we look at a tax code a lot of times, but people already want to come to Houston. And so what we need to do is capitalize. They already want to come here, so we need to make sure that we are a different group, that money gets back to the government. If you have $1 million or more to invest, it needs to make more money. I can figure out a way to make money in any way. I want to make sure it gets to your pockets and pays for the government. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sutton. We're to our wrap-up, and I'm going to ask each of the council candidates first. You have 1.5 minutes for the floor. If you would just have your closing statements. And Ms. Brown, I'm going to start with you.
My closing statement, I think, would be to ask you for your vote, of course. And I want to be the person that is the ears for the community, whether it's by email or text or phone or whatever. I want input. I realize many of you have expertise. I've met engineers, people who've served on the council, people who've been very involved with the city for a lot of years, and I want to tap that expertise. I want you to come and talk to me. I want to ask if you want to be on a committee when we have an issue that would be well served with committee input. I want some of you to be on planning and zoning. I just want that open line of communication. Is never my goal to be a politician, but to serve, and I think I have the ears I think I have a brain that can process, and I really, really appreciate the diverse input. I'm a lifelong learner, and I want the citizens of Houston to teach me how to serve them best. I appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Corder?
I'm going to ask for your vote also. Again, like I said, we need a wide strategic plan. We need the residents involved. Again, 7 people sitting up here. We're just a representation. You all represent this city. There's the old and the new. I agree with Dave before when he said we don't need division. We need a community that's united, a great place to live, a place to call home. That's why we moved here. A place to live, work, and let's play together, So I want to earn your vote. This is what I want to do now. I think there's some obstacles to overcome, but obstacles are what I've been involved with sports for the last 30 years. So I teach the kids every day. We need to fail. Fail means first attempt in learning. We need to learn together. Really want to invite you all to be part of this city. I know you are here. It's great to see 100 people here. Dave and I talked a long time ago. I hope that we're getting a place where we have 500, 1,000 people showing up to these meetings, and you're all involved. This is your city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Corder. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir. I'd like to start by thanking all of you again for being here tonight, and again, to those of you that set this up. As y'all have heard, we've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of very important and big decisions that are going to be made over the next couple of years, which will shape Houston's future. And so I think over the next couple of years, it's critical that we have people that are dedicated and that also have experience. And so I would love for y'all to put my experience to work. I've worked in politics at the local, state, and federal level. I've worked with businesses of all sizes in the software space through my work, solve complex issues, and I'm ready to put that experience to work here. And I want for everybody to be extremely proud of their city council, of the mayor, of all administration, city employees, as well as the city that they call home. I want to see more people with smiles on their face leaving a city council meeting than we have today, and we can accomplish that right away. Again, it just goes back to unity. I really don't want to hear anybody again say, hey, it's old, new. Everybody here wants the best for their neighbor and what's best for Houston, just like they do, for our nation. And so it's time for us to all come together. We've got a lot of work to do. I'm ready to do the work, and I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Ms. Moss?
I would love to serve the community. As I said earlier, I'm new to all this. I would love to learn how everything works. I will have an open mind. I'll be a good listener, and I'll be a voice out there for all of the families, for your property, and for your future. And again, I'd like to say to each and every one sitting here, good luck. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Moss.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sell?
So I want to start, communication is key. I'm an accessible person. I'm here. I'm here. I'm not hard to find. If you want to talk to me, come talk to me. I want to talk to you. I want to hear your ideas. We may not agree, but I want to hear your ideas. I mean, it's great to make decisions based on lots of different input. I've got a good track record here, and I want to just kind of highlight a few things. First, I've heard a lot of things here about infrastructure. People, City of Houston, probably 75–80% of it is brand new infrastructure. If you look at our roads, water, and sewer lines, it's brand new. We've been putting them in the ground for the last, 6–8 years? New subdivisions, streets. We've repaved streets. We put in a city property tax, and that is repaving some roads. That is what that money was designated for. I was adamant before and adamant now. If you want to move to the City of Houston today, you got to pay your way. That didn't happen 20, 30, 40 years ago. Today it is. But I'm adamant that somebody moving here today shouldn't cost us a seating resident money. We built a new water tank. Booster pump stations coming online. All these lines y'all see going in the ground, Yeah, we started that. This building right here, I led the charge on this. The impact fee program, I led the charge on that. The Mulberry property over here that we bought, I led the charge on that. The Stancil building, all of this, I mean, I worked like a dog when I was here. We got a lot done. I humbly ask for your vote to keep it running. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Self. Mr. Brown?
Like I started off tonight, I said I was honored to be running and to represent you in this city, and I'd like to end that way as well. I am honored, and I feel privileged to be able to sit up here with some of the candidates, and I've learned a few things tonight about how we can better manage the city in the process as we go down the road. I'm not going to be long about this or anything, because I think that we just got to get together and move this path forward, and I just want to ask you for your vote and your support, and that we work together as we go down this path. And thank you for your time, and thank you for putting this together.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Sweat?
I also want to ask for your vote. As I said earlier, I'm a longtime member here. I actually live right behind City Hall, so I'm easily accessible. I would be willing to listen and to learn. Not going to say that I know everything about being a council person, because I've never been, but I would like the opportunity to represent you all.
Thank you, Ms. Sweat. For your mayor, your last words, and Ms. Martin, I'll start with you.
Thank you. It is not going to be easy, what we're going to be going through together, but we have to do it together. I wrote a couple of notes here. The vision for the city of Houston, it's not my vision. It's your vision. I'm just going to help carry out that vision with the right mayor and council members. I don't know everything about water, sewer, treatment, roads, DOT. I have an understanding, believe me, I do. But that's why we have professionals in that area, for me to look towards those professionals to give us advice and input and recommendations on what to do for the city. And that's what I'm going to do as your mayor, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Sutton?
Thank you for the question. When I look at any opportunity, it is from the perspective of one of the world's top brain and mind experts. And one of the things that I've had 100% success in focusing on is helping people not focus about what's wrong, but focusing on how we can create a better life for them individually, to help them achieve goals, and to how to get those goals to help them create more performance and profits. So I analyze things from that standpoint, and then also, as you see on my acting channel on Facebook, if you're going to get on Facebook, come to Nick Sutton, I look at things from different ways that governments would, from a king to a president to a godfather to a chief of a tribe to an artist, to Champ Vinci, and how champions can work together on this field. So in order to help this town, I'm bringing forward what I consider to be 4 multi-billion-dollar projects, brain research, cannabis and natural meds research. Big Pharma got it wrong, and I can prove that. They are going to have to offer new medicines, casino, and then also to protect people, weapons and sales research. Now, those are big money opportunities, and I believe in sharing those profits, whether it's my idea or group ideas, with the governments and with the people. I ask for your vote, and then also ask for you to support me on the President of the United States Run 2024, so that we can all accumulate and raise funds together, and I will share some of that money with you as well. I am here to improve your lives and help you make more money. That is the focus of everything I do. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this town. God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Dr. Sutton. Mr. Beck, you have the last word.
All right. I'm gonna do a little different than everybody else. I'm not gonna ask for your vote. I'm gonna ask for you to vote, because it's not about me. It's about all of you in the city of Houston. Of course, I'm going to hope that you vote for me, but all I really want is for you all to vote, because we need to make some changes. We need to really take this town by the horns and kind of steer it where we want to steer it. I think we're at a pivotal moment right now. With the development of Crestwind coming in and Twin Lakes, I think those are literally the foundation of Houston's future. I think we have a lot more in store for us in that department. And I really think just from this point on, it's kind of a pivotal moment, and you guys really need to get out there and vote for who you think can run it the best. I just want to raise my hand and offer my services up is all I'm doing up here today. Again, whoever you all decide is the best person to take it by the horns and steer it, that's up to you. I'm just throwing myself out there because I'm a hard worker, I'm a very smart person, and I'm offering myself up in my services. And that's all there is to it.
Thank you much. Thank you all for giving yourself up to your community and offering yourself for service. Ladies and gentlemen, your candidates, please give them a hand. This will conclude the candidate forum. Please feel free to speak to your candidates with any